Hi, my name is Jan Schmidt. I'm the Chief Exterior Designer at Bugatti. Together with my team, I'm responsible for envisioning, creating, designing the next generation of Bugatti, really defining the form language of our products. Of course, you need to be creative, you need to think ahead, think into the future, but at the same time, always keep the brand values and the history of a brand as strong as Bugatti in mind. And it's really about finding that sweet spot of what is a Bugatti and what can a Bugatti be in the future. This is really what it's about, to ideate and to implement this into a design process, and in the end, together with the engineering team, marketing, to find the perfect symbiosis to create a product such as the Tourbillon. Let's take a look at the Tourbillon so I could show you what designing a Bugatti really is all about. So it's really about making a Bugatti recognizable as a Bugatti from every angle. And this we do by staying true to our design DNA. Like, for example, the iconic horseshoe grille, the fuselage accentuation, and the center line, which runs from front to back and originates in the Type 57 SC Atlantic, where the car was actually riveted on the center. And on the side, the distinctive Bugatti line, which comes from the A-pillar, really runs around and shoots forward, giving the car a nice impression of leaping forward. And this really also leads us to the side view of the car, where we can see we focused on the stance, we focused on the car having more of a wedge shape expression. Everything is leaping forward, is focused towards speed, towards performance. And we added also this really extraordinarily muscular and sculptured rear fender. It has like this Coke bottle shape coming from the Bugatti line and really is formed in a soft and surface reflection-based kind of manner. Coming back to the front, one thing I mentioned, the horseshoe. And it's really a prime example of how we envision form-following performance. Yes, it's lower and wider than it was on any other car that came before it, and the whole facial expression really ducks onto that. Everything is originating from the horseshoe, the fuselage, but also the 8-eye face, the light graphics are docked onto that, so it's quite a prominent Bugatti design DNA element. But it also really is custom made in a way that an EU number plate really fits now in the front, inside the horseshoe. And also the corner here, the way this is shaped, this is really crest structure relevant, and it needs to be exactly in that position. And so we found a symbiosis of design, engineering that made this really a really nice proportion. Also, something new is how we attached the headlight to what we call the flying fender. So this also has a purpose. Yes, on the one hand, it really accentuates the fuselage. You can really see it, how it's going forward towards the horseshoe. But on the other hand, it also helps performance, meaning there's air streaming underneath here and exiting out the top of the fender, which then feeds into the side radiator and into the side air intake, improving performance, improving power. And this made it also necessary to have a really compact headlight. It's still got the 8-eye face, but it's now very technical. It looks very technological, advanced, yet a simple and clearly recognizable graphical expression. And the whole front is really a marvel of engineering, to be honest, because it's pretty much the same footprint as a Chiron in terms of width and length, but it's even a little bit lower than on the Chiron, meaning the middle of the front of the car is really snug in between those very athletic front fenders with that crease line. And that's not only a design wish, let's say, but it's also aerodynamically necessary. We have air everywhere coming in and out the top. The car is aerodynamically very balanced, very perfectionated, and it still features more luggage space than a Chiron, while having also an E-front axle. So it's really everything is custom made, custom tailored to this package, and we're really happy that we made this synergy possible with the engineering team and the design team to come up with a facial expression as wide and focused and low as we have on the Tourbillon. If we look at the side, we can see that from the front fender, we have this very precise fender crease line pointing towards the air intake on the body side, and it's really giving this plan shape change and also giving more prominence by the three-dimensionality to the Bugatti line, which is a very prominent and important design DNA element. And at the same time, it serves two more functions. It is showcasing where the air is really entering the car, and it also serves as a three-dimensional partition line to our iconic duotone color split. Looking towards the rear, there's yet another function integrated into the center line, and it's the third brake light, or chimsel as we call it, which when you're behind the car and you brake, it really gives a very distinct and precise look to the car, accentuating one of our core design DNA elements one more time. It also draws attention to the open engine bay, with the plenum really towering on top of the engine of the naturally aspirated V16. And that's yet another example where we worked hand in hand with the engineering department to create something truly outstanding. Looking at the entirety of the rear, you will notice immediately how the rear fender is blending into the rear deck, where we also have the active rear wing that only comes out when needed. And this really gives a shape, an outline to the rear of the car, where we thought we would like to highlight that. And we highlight that by shaping the left to right taillight in a way that it's a single piece, really following and drawing the shape of the rear. And in the Tourbillon, it's done by utilizing more than 124 individual light elements that act as one graphic, with the Bugatti writing lighting up in the center. Also here underneath the taillight, we have these air outlets. We have these air channels that go all the way underneath the rear fender. And what they do is they transport hot air that comes from the radiators on the side of the car really out the back and give it that purposeful aesthetic. And therefore, we also chose to build very tightly around these elements, exposing the rear wheel and giving the whole car a wide, very lightweight appearance. And because of the integrated crash structure, we could really pull those diffuser channels up high. And not only are they high, but they already start in the middle of the car, right behind the front seats, and really accelerate the air out the back. And that is also in part possible because of the narrow build of the V16 naturally aspirated engine. So everything is playing hand in hand. The new package, the design, we really showcased the capabilities of what the Tourbillon can do. When being asked about my favorite part of the Tourbillon, I have to point at the way the rear fender is shaped. It is in fact inspired by the proportion of the rear fender of the Veyron, with its reflection-based vastness and the grandezza of the surfacing. And if you really look on how this surface conglomerate runs behind the Bugatti line, down into the body side and into that air outlet underneath the Bugatti line above the rocker, that's really something I'm particularly happy about, how it turned out and how it gives really strength and muscle to the car and enhances the overall stance and proportion. The reoccurring semantic expression really on the Tourbillon is the symbiotic interplay of very strong graphical DNA elements and this grand surfacing that really makes it a Bugatti.